show you a couple of the skills that we teach and how to correct some things you're going to see.
Yeah, I feel like you're just doing.
Hopefully, very, very beneficial for the kids and you. So, any questions? Awesome. So what we're going to do is, when we teach skills, let me give you a breakdown of what a practice looks like. Practice looks like kids get out of the car, some will be way early, some will be waiting at the field when you show up 20 minutes early, they'll be there already. And mom or dad will have you running through drills.
I do want a picture of you with the home TV sweatshirt on.
All this stuff. And then there are going to be kids
Is that legal?
Naked in there too.
And you're disheveled and they have no
I got a good photo I can show you too from today.
Take time to tie your
Oh.
Make sure to put the glasses down.
I know.
And what we're going to do is
My eyes aren't even open.
they never are. And we're going to play a little scrimmage.
There is one right side.
And then
Okay.
Kind of.
Can I show you a picture from today?
Yeah. This one here
It goes
says hi.
quick.
I do.
My first piece of advice is,
So I was like pumping up soccer balls and stuff today, and I don't have a shirt on underneath this, so I was really hot. So I was like, okay, well I'm gonna take this off, but I can't just like be shirtless just in case anyone shows up. I did.
parents are lining the outside of the field. I'm by myself with 8 little
That was me earlier.
And you're like, okay.
You look like who's that guy? Richard Simmons.
Oh my gosh.
It's like curly hair.
He did have curly hair, didn't he?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Everybody is really willing to help.
I was dying in there earlier. It was hot.
When you're in
Yeah,
Township.
I think they air conditioned that building.
So a lot of them are really,
It's usually not so bad, but like when you got a sweatshirt on, you're just like pumping and getting your jacket on. So
that will also
Have you
help
seen
in your
Alex's
games
hide the
because
paint
what
Carol
happens is
picture?
you're in first grade.
I am not unsure.
he was bullying me one day.
He was on the
Sounds
field.
right.
And that means if the coach is on the field,
I'm a good person. I don't need that in my life.
is over here on the sideline. So that's why we need an assistant coach. They'll say, oh no, I don't know anything about the game. Oh, no, you don't need to know anything about the game. You know how to keep kids kind of corralled or ready to sub in. So
Wanna see it again?
first piece of advice, get an assistant coach.
I haven't gone in a while. Can I see it again too?
He was bullying me for
The
no
other
reason.
thing I want to point out is this age group and the mentality, these kids.
You're on microphone as having bullied
What
me.
happens is, and you guys probably already have done this with your own, you go out, mom and dad buy a ball, and they give, and the
Yeah.
ball is big sporting goods. This is my favorite neon, I
Okay,
love it,
that
I
kid
love
get
it,
on
this
the
is
stick.
great. And the parent says,
I ask you not to play.
don't move that ball.
It's kind of weird.
Don't lose that ball. And this kid now, mom's told me not to lose it. Guess what the most valuable thing in the world for that kid is at that practice? This ball.
What's the goal?
They don't want to share it. And if you kick my ball, especially at kindergarten, you'd be like, that's my ball, right? So this is really important. So when you're doing drills, you might find a kid that kicks the ball away, and you say, oh, don't worry about it, you'll get it later. And they go, Mom said, don't lose my ball, I'm gonna go get it now. That's just kind of a natural thing. But the other beautiful thing about this ball is, this is the game, right? This is the game. This is what every kid wants to do, is kick this and run after this. And that's a beautiful thing because you're going to try to set up your practices that they get to touch this ball as much as possible. Now, in your bag, you have 4 or 5 balls. Anybody know how many kids are on their roster? How many? 7? 7 or 8? That means we're a few balls short. Okay? That means make sure when you send your email to tell your kids about the first practice and introduce yourself, make sure they know, hey, if you have a ball, bring it. Because you'll have a couple spares, but you definitely want everybody to have a soccer ball. Because, again, this is the game that you want them touching this ball as much as possible. Okay? So, this is going to be the second piece of advice. Make sure that you understand that the kids, this is very important.
I don't know if you're going to want to record this.
I
Okay.
didn't think it was going to take that long.
Any questions?
I think this will
Awesome.
make
So the
sense.
first thing is, when we, the first skill to learn is striking the ball. I'm not going to call it shooting. I'm we just talked about striking the ball. Think about when you're out in the yard with your daughter, your son. What are you doing? You're saying, hey, we're passing back and forth, right? They're just trying to kick it. They're just trying to strike the ball hard enough to get it to mom or dad. Well, we need to teach striking of the ball first and foremost. Okay? And that's the first skill. Now, a lot of you guys have played will say, oh yeah, we do a lot of passing combinations. And no, that doesn't happen. That does not happen. What we're going to try to do is we're going to try to strike the ball forward. So it might be forward to run after. It might be forward towards the goal, but we're going to learn how to strike the ball, and that's the first skill we teach them. So, again, you can Google this, and you can YouTube it about striking a ball. I'm going to teach you really quick, but I want to get to the corrections that they don't always talk about in those videos that you'll find online. When we strike a ball, in order to strike a ball really hard, we got to bring our leg really far back. Think about if you're going to punch something, you have to bring your arm way back to get more power. If you're swinging a bat, you bring it way back and you have power, or a golf club, way back and hit it. Same thing with your leg. So what we want to do is we want to be able to have a technique where our leg can go back, okay, back as far as we can, and strike it. So that's part of how the power comes, and what we're trying to do is we're going to try to strike the middle of our foot on the middle of the ball, okay? Not the toe, because if you look at your toe right now, what shape is it? It's round. And what happens is if we're striking the ball with your toe, if they're a little bit off, that ball can go any which way. Now, will most of your kids strike the ball with the toe? Yeah, that's okay. But we're going to try to teach them the technique of striking it with what we call our laces. And if you feel right here, and if you feel on your foot, I know, feel it, push down, you'll feel that bone. Anybody here in the medical field that can tell me what that bone is? Okay, that's what I call the hard bone in your foot. That might be a medical term, but that's what we ideally want to get on the ball. So what we have to do is, in order to get away from the toe and get our laces on the ball, we've got to point our toe. Okay? We have to point our toe when we strike the ball. And the best way to do it, or to point the toe down, get our laces on the ball. And in order to swing through it, what we want to do is we don't want to come and run directly at the ball, okay? Because we can't really swing our leg very high. So what we want to do is we want to come off at an angle, okay? Think about NFL or college football kickers, right? They come off at an angle. So what we do is we run up, and this leg is called the plant leg, which we put even with the ball, and we're pointing in the direction we want to go. So we run up, put that there, and then we bring our foot way back, point our toe, we strike it on the laces, okay? Or on the hard bone. Huh? You can do that. Absolutely. There's a million ways to strike it. With the inside, outside part of the foot, you can. Yeah, you can definitely spin it. That's all stuff that probably comes in later on as we learn to strike the ball, like when we teach them volleys and whatnot. But yes. So the basic thing we want to do is get them to strike the ball with the laces. Okay? You can look that up. It's pretty easy. Now, let me tell you two things that are the biggest common mistakes when we strike the ball with these kids, or when the kids strike the ball. One, their plant foot is not even with the ball. It's way behind. And they try to swing their leg through, and it drags. Okay? So, or it's way off to the side here, and they swing, and the ball is like my drive with the shank off in the trees. So what we want to do is first look at their foot placement. We want that foot even with the ball, or slightly behind it, but that's what we're looking for, okay? Now, the next big error is the backswing of the leg. A lot of times people run up to it and they'll go, and they can't, there's no backswing, okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure as we're a coach that we're adding backswing into it. So while we're practicing, if we plant that foot next to it, the way to get your backswing is when we run to the ball, the last step is a big step. So I'm going to run up to it, small step, and then when I take that last big step into the ball. It allows my leg to come back, and I can swing through it and hit it. Okay? So the two main things to correct are getting the ball, the foot, or the plant foot even with the ball, and the next big thing is the swing, back swing of the leg. Okay. Now, what I want to do is, we want to practice that a lot. So every first practice with your kids is going to be involved. You're going to show this first, because that's what what we're going to be doing is going to be based on from here on out. So that's striking the ball. The way we practice it is this. Remember I said the practice, what it looks like, kids coming out of there, out of the car, running up. The first thing I have our kids do, I do this up until 3rd grade, 4th grade. I have them strike the ball a lot. And here's how I do it. I say, okay, everybody, hey, good to see you, Bonnie, great to see you, Sally, hey, Ben, great job, good to have you out here. Get the ball, and I want you to strike the ball all the way down to the other side of the field. All the way down. So use your strong leg, because every kid has a strong leg and a weak leg. And we're gonna strike it all the way down there. And then they strike it all the way back. So when we do this, they're striking a ball, their ball, and they're running after their ball. Those are the two things they really want to do. They're doing it right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, they get to run, and they're excited to get to your practice and get into it. So I use a strong leg all the way down, all the way back. Kindergartners, I might go, if you look at this field actually runs this way. It's a big square. So whether you go sideline to sideline or end line to end line, it's pretty much the same distance. But I have your kindergartners kick the ball with a strong leg all the way down to the other side. Turn around, kick it all the way back. And then I say, use your weak foot. That's a little harder, isn't it? So that's a little harder. So they go all the way down, or I may stop them halfway and all the way back, but I want them striking the ball with both feet. Now at 1st grade, I can do this sometimes with kindergartners, but later after start playing games and stuff. But certainly with 1st graders, I'll have them go and take the ball and punt it. I'll show them how to punt it. I don't spend a lot of time on it, because the ball at this age isn't in the air a lot, but I want them to understand the ball in the air so they can strike it. I do it all the way down and all the way back. And as we get on, I might add a weak foot all the way down and all the way back. And here's the thing, we need to strike the ball as many times as possible. Develop the power, right? The muscle memory and the technique. I took a team to England back in 2001, and I was talking to our guys. We were at a tournament playing on the English side, and we were getting warmed up, and I'm talking to my guys, and they all kept on looking over my shoulder. They weren't paying any attention. I'm like, what is going on here? So I turned and looked, and the other team was warming up and these guys were maybe 13, but the balls were being sent in, and they were volleying, side volley. Both, every which way they were striking a ball, and I was like, man, if I toss the ball to our guys, they might hit it one side of every 10 times, right? Serving it in and striking everything. And that really emphasizes how much we need to strike the ball. Okay? So that type of striking the ball early on, every practice, that's gold. Okay? You can do that while you're waiting for those last couple of kids to show up.
I mean, I'm not the one wearing shorts and a t-shirt, so.
Get some kicking, get some running, and then, believe it or not, that might tire them out for about a minute and a half.
I think if they're okay, I can be okay.
So you're about a minute and a half closer to the end of the practice, but we're getting close. Any questions?
I didn't go in until noon today.
Good.
And I spent my morning catching up on Survivor.
Of course you did.
Love Survivor.
Yeah, just.
Now you're trying to get me to watch it.
Did I?
Well, that's one of the skills we'll teach, and then we'll introduce dribbling, which I'm going to go into now. Yeah, and really our skills are striking the ball and dribbling.
Yeah, you wanted me to watch it week to week because you want someone to talk to.
So
I was like,
I'm going to talk
I
about
can't commit
dribbling.
to this.
And when I talk about dribbling, I want you guys to introduce a concept.
Turn my butt, bro.
I've been coached by an Italian.
Sail the 7
coached
seas.
with an Argentinian. I went to the KNDB, which is the Dutch national team, and done a coaching course there. Been all around the world, and one thing they do is everywhere else in the world talks about how soccer is a game of space. U.S. soccer, I've been through all the licensing, C license coach. U.S. Soccer doesn't talk that much about this, right? And I'm like, wow. They're doing it now at the academies, but for years, they didn't talk about space. And I think it's really important. The concept of space, I'll show you what I mean here. The concept of space and understanding space in this game can be introduced to a kindergartner or a first grader. And as they go through, all the way through, that concept, if you build that in early on, then it will help them develop as they go through all the age groups, okay? You know, my son plays college soccer, and they talk about space and body positioning, all the basic stuff that you think, no, that's a huge thing, because that's all about all the game. How can you create space and whatnot? So we can lay the groundwork. Even if you're a volunteer coach that's never played the game, you can lay the groundwork for the future development. And I'm one of those people that if we're going to do something, right? If I'm going to volunteer for lacrosse, I never played lacrosse, but I want to know what's the basic stuff. What can I do that will help these kids go on to a coach maybe that is an actual lacrosse coach? I'm just a youth level, but I want to know, and that's what I'm going to show you here. So I do need a couple of volunteers, actually 4, and we're going to come on over this way because we're going to talk about dribbling. All right, so awesome. Go ahead and get on a ball there. And come on over this way. I've set up a grid or a square of these 4 yellow cones. And this is going to be a basic setup for you guys every practice. Okay? This is what we call a dribbling grid. This is where we develop the skill because we want our kids to be able to control the ball and not lose the ball. Right? In kindergarten, they're going to lose it, right? But we want to have at least teach them how to keep control of the ball. So what dribbling is, for those that don't know, is dribbling. There's a couple different styles of dribbling, but the one we're going to concentrate with the kids is dribbling to try to keep close control. So if there's a crowd, and here's the thing: if you played another sport, right? There's a lot of things that you are going to bring from another sport to this game. It's funny. I had a guy a couple years ago. He said, "Hey, dude, I was like a linebacker in football. Like, what am I going to bring to this?" I'm like, "Oh, defending." Well, and we talked about how he lines guys up and how you tackle a guy and the positioning and angles. It's like, oh, that's what football is, trying to figure out the angles. You can bring any sport into this, so try to find ways to connect what we're teaching to the sport you know. So like a basketball, this is pretty much, I'm going to show you basically with a soccer ball what most basketball coaches do, which is trying to get kids to learn to dribble in a crowd and try to keep the ball. So what we're going to do is when we dribble, we're going to use the inside part of our foot, okay? The outside part of our foot. We're going to use both feet. We're going to use the bottom of our foot. We can use all surfaces of both feet to dribble. And if your kid hasn't shown you Messi in the MLS, watch Messi in the MLS. He's just dominating. So you're going to use all surfaces of your feet, and you're going to try to keep the ball close. And what we try to do is we try to keep this ball within one stride of themselves. Now, right off the get, what is one limitation of what you might try to? What's one limitation you have as a coach, or your players have as a player out here, trying to keep a ball close? Long grass. You're going to have long grass. Oh, but it's going to be long. So you're still going to try to teach the kids, okay, even in long grass or short grass, you try to dribble, try to keep this close. So if anybody comes to get it, we can check it with our body and go in a different direction. So, what I'd like you to do, and one other person, if you, come on, let's go. So, stay within these 4 cones. So come on in here. It's Sergey, is that what I heard in there? Yeah, come on in this way. I want you to dribble around and stay within the 4 cones. Okay? Go. Dribble, keep it close. And what we try to do is we try to get the kid to be able to not run into people. Not run into anybody. That's our first main thing. And 3. Great. And what we want to do is we want them to try to keep control, not run into each other. Sometimes there's going to be one kid that will do it, like run into people in purpose. Joe's in my class. Ah! It's great. They laugh and stop. And you can laugh and say, hey, keep dribbling. Don't run into Joe. Whatever. He might be lava. Whatever. Right? Oh, I don't want to touch. So you want to keep it close and not run into each other. As we do this, there's a couple things. People want to say, coaches want to say, you want to dribble with your head up. If you're a basketball guy, you can dribble with your head up. I can stand here and dribble a ball, and I can look, because I'm sweet at basketball. No. But I can dribble, even my core skills, I can dribble a soccer ball and look at or a basketball, and I can see all. However, in soccer, you can't do that. So what happens is kids are very literal, right? If you see a kid dribble with his head down staring at the ball, you say, get your head up. The kid will pick his head up, and he'll have no idea what the ball is. Well, coach said, no, we don't want that. So what we want to do is we want to have these guys in the beginning, these girls and boys, to dribble around and then try to look up. And try to get their head from the ball up. And one way we can do this is by adding a game. It's called, I'm going to hold up a number, okay? So what's going to happen is, go ahead and dribble around again. I'm going to walk around and I'm going to hold up the finger. And when you see my number, call it out. One. Yeah, good, all right. Keep dribbling. Two, right. So, and three. So what happens is, that helps their eyes get up and down and try to teach them this. Kindergartners, a little bit harder to do that, but first graders for sure you can get them doing that idea. Right? Okay, now I'm going to introduce the idea of space. Okay, this is where we start introducing space to the idea. And I'm telling you, I've coached a number of kids in kindergarten and first grade, and kindergartners and first graders get this idea of space. The way I say it is, hey everybody, when we're dribbling around, we don't want to run into anybody. So if we can find space along the field, then you will be away from me, right? So I'll say, does anybody know what space is? And they'll raise their hand and go, where nobody's at? Yes, that is perfect. Dribble to where nobody's at. Now in the game, if we're all dribbling around, there might be space here, might be space there, but it's constantly moving, so space will change. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to make this space a little bit smaller to make it a little bit harder for you guys. But what I want you to do now is I want you to dribble around. I want you to dribble around, and I want you to find space. Don't run into each other, and don't dribble outside. Ready? Go. Find space. Find space. Good. Good. Excellent. Okay, and freeze. Whoa! Whoa! Who hit Joe? Who hit Joe?
Joe, you're lava.
Joe, you're lava. So, hopefully it doesn't get that violent in your games.
It will.
Yeah. But Joe, listen, you popped up, I mean, so quick. It was like a... So we want to introduce the idea of space. And here's what's going to happen. Here's what we want to teach our kids. When they're in space and nobody's around, that's a great time to lift your head and look up, right? So you find space, because honestly, if I'm in here and these guys are all crowded, it's really hard for me to keep my head up and maintain control of the ball, right? So what we want to do is we want to find space. Now, space can be behind us, left, right, in front of us, wherever. So in this, I might turn around and then I get into space. And when I get into space, when I find space, I pick my head up. Then I can look around. So ideally on a soccer field, the progression is going to be find space, pick your head up, and look for something. What do you think that something would be on a soccer field? Find space, pick your head up. What am I looking for? My mom? Oh, goal, yes. Goal. Yes, right. And what happens is we want to teach our kids when we're dribbling, if we're into space and there's nobody around us, look up and look for the goal. Look for the goal. My story on this is I was playing in a men's league game many years ago, and there was a guy that played on the Ecuadorian U19 team or something. He was a fantastic player. And he was just come across midfield. and I was a midfielder with him, and I was defending him. He came across midfield, picked his head up, shot it from just across midfield, and scored on our keeper. And my keeper's yelling, "Rob, you can't let him shoot from there." I'm like, he's at midfield. Like, who thinks he's going to shoot? And I went, wait, whoa, what are you doing way out of the goal then if you think he's going to shoot? So the idea was, wait a minute, this guy at midfield picks his head up and looks for the goal, looks for something. And what happens is, in the little kids game, when we get to how to coach in the game, we're talking about two things. We're talking about find space and find the goal. Okay? That's what we're going to coach. That's our coaching instruction. And we're going to lay the groundwork right here, because we want them to look up and find the goal. Here's the thing. If I can't shoot on that goal, what happens is your kids are developing a long-range vision, right? And so what happens is that if they can't shoot it, they can dribble, or they might see somebody up that they strike the ball to. Do not think that you're going to get a lot of kids like looking up and finding somebody on the far post and pinging it over to them, right? They're not going to do that. But again, we're laying the groundwork for eventual things where they can dribble in, pick their head up, find the goal. If they can't shoot, oh, they might see Joe way over there, and he hasn't fallen yet. I'll get him the ball, right? So we want to teach that in this, okay? So now, what I want to do is I want you to dribble around. And we're going to do this thing again with the numbers. But if you think about it, when I did the numbers thing before, you guys didn't look up until you were in space, because that's when they can pick their heads up. Adults do that, but now you're going to do it again. So I want you to dribble around in this small space, and when you see when I see the number on my hand, call it out. Okay, go.
5.
Okay.
2.
Okay, now, I want you guys to observe who are the ones able to call out my numbers, okay? Okay? You're off the cliff! Off the cliff!
2.
Okay, there you go.
I have a lot of 2.
Yeah, and freeze. Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, we teach them to find space and get their heads up. We can do that with numbers. One other thing, usually as they get older, in first grade, second grade, third grade, what I'll do is I'll set this little dribbling grid up in front of that goal. Or if I have 2 goals, I'll set up a second goal. And now what I'll do, I'll set one up there, one on the other side, and all of a sudden, now when they find space, I say, go to goal, find the goal. So they're dribbling around through things, and all of a sudden they get through and they find the goal. Because ultimately that's what we want to do. We want them to be able to dribble, get into space, pick their head up, and find goal. Okay, any questions? This right here, there are a million little drills that you can do off of this. In these dribbling grids, there's a lot of variations. You can find it online. You'll see it in your curriculums. We do stuff where we touch the body parts of the ball and all this stuff. So there's lots of stuff we can do. But this is the second piece of your practice. First piece is striking the ball across and all the way back, doing all that. Second piece is this, okay? The last thing we do is we get into a scrimmage and we get them playing. I will tell you this, I was with a tennis guy. Back in the day, there was a guy named Todd Martin. You guys remember this guy? A long time ago. And he was a buddy of a friend of ours, a friend of mine, and he talked about teaching tennis. And one thing he talked about in tennis, the Tennis Association was telling instructors, limit your activity to the age of the kid you're with. So if you want to do this dribbling drill and your kids are 5 to 6 years old, keep it limited to 5 or 6 minutes. Right?
Ask Nick how. Ask Sam how
than 5 or 6
waterproof this
minutes,
camera is.
Do something, give them a water break, and then get them back out. And have
Cool.
them do it
It's
again.
like
But you have
kind
to
of
break it up
random.
in chunks. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to point out, I forgot, is the key
It's
word is
stopped.
freeze. Freeze, right? You've coached before, or if you're a parent and you're yelling at your kid who's in
Okay.
the kitchen getting somewhere, doing something, you yell freeze, right? The same
It
thing.
scared me. All right.
Teach them, make them understand that it's freeze, stop, no mouth, keep your mouth shut. listen with your eyes, if you know Mike Devlin, that's what he talks about all the time. Get that introduced right away. You don't have to have many rules. Just when the coach is talking, you must be quiet and paying attention. All right. Any other questions here? That's the next big thing. Now, I'm going to talk. How many people here coach first grade? Okay, perfect. So I'm going to talk about another skill that we want to introduce in first grade, and that's a 1 versus 1. 1 versus 1. That's one attacker versus one defender. This is something that I do a lot of, especially at this age group. At first grade, 1 versus 1s are really successful. Kids love it. It's a game. At kindergarten, they're not there yet. And remember I told you about I have a ball. My mom said don't lose it. Well, 1 versus 1 game, if I'm going to go 1 versus 1 against somebody, what's your name? Brennan. If Brennan has that ball and I'm going against him and I steal the ball from Brennan, I don't know anything about you, but you'll probably have a breakdown. Kindergarten, like, right? Especially if I start dribbling away, right? So what we want to do is, so kindergarten, not so good. I've tried several classes and it just doesn't work very well. But first grade, they love it. And here's the thing. All right, so I'm going to throw on these cones. These are, actually, totally green. All right, the green cones are the goal. And let me just give you an explanation of 1 versus 1. Brett, can you guys come off with it? Can you mind off with it? I'm going to talk about slide tackling next. But no. So, Brett, what's going to happen in 1 versus 1 is there's a defender defending something, whether it's a line or a goal, and an attacker. Okay? So the way we teach this in the beginning with the first graders is the coach, what's your name? Luke, will you come over here? Yep. You'll be the coach, Coach Luke. We'll have one line of defenders, let's say off to the side of the goal. You can do it in front of that goal even. The coach will pass the ball to Brennan, go ahead, and then a defender will run out to him. This is kind of what happens in a game, right? Somebody's dribbling, somebody's running at them. So what we're going to try to do is we try to teach what the attacker does and what the defender does. We'll always start with the defense because it's easier. I was a forward, so I'm like, yeah, defenders are so easy. It's ridiculous. So we're going to start with defense. And what we want to try to teach the kids is that if somebody's dribbling at them, we're going to try to teach them that you don't have to if the ball's close to him, you can't just kick it away all the time. Sometimes the main thing is we want to stay between the ball and the goal. Now we say that just like you tell your kids a million times. That won't happen. There'll be like massive bodies going together. But we want to teach. We're going to instruct them. Defenders stay between Brennan and the goal. So I'm going to stand here and I'm going to do this. If he moves one way, I go. And if I can do this, that's perfect. Again, won't see that, but that's what we're going to try to teach. So that's what defenders are. So Brendan, you know how to defend now. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to introduce the first and the most important 1v1 move your kids can ever learn. Right? This move is so basic and so important that they teach it in hockey, they teach it in basketball, they teach it in but most all team sports that involve a goal or a basket will teach this, okay? And before I teach it, I'm gonna talk to you about, man, I just had my hair done and it's raining. No, I want to talk about, I'm gonna name a couple moves, and let's see if anybody ever heard of a Royce move? How about a scissor, a step over, Sir Stanley Matthews? So if you guys play the games, you all know what that is. But remember I said
old
kids are
1800s
literal.
photographer with your head
If
underneath.
you went out and said, okay everybody, I'm going to teach you the Sir Stanley Matthews move. Who's Sir Stanley Matthews?
Oh, fuck.
English guy who played like in his late 40s, he had this move. Oh, where's England? Hey, tangling. Hey! Ah!
Good
No,
job.
never mind. So, and by the way, if I
Good
said,
Carhartt.
Sir Stanley Matthews, move in your head, can you picture it? No, you're just thinking, oh, he must be drinking tea, right? So, these are literal. So we're going to teach them the most basic thing, and this is what we want to teach them. It's called the zigzag. You realize the zigzag move? Zig and zag. If you think about it, everything we try to do
Yeah, it's deceiving.
in sports, when you try to beat an
Yeah, I
opponent,
looked up the
it's a
first
zigzag.
time. This is
In
harder
football,
than it was, but
Barry Sanders guy comes one way and then go this way, right?
It's Barry Sanders.
He's trying to unbalance the defender. This gets too wet with the corners there. Okay, all right, good. All right,
Barry
I like that
Sanders.
attitude. All right, so
Mike.
what we're trying to teach them is the zig and a zag. Because if we can get them zigzagging, then everything else comes into play. And by the way, Sir Stanley Matthews is essentially right? But we say, hey, I want to show you a move. And so this is what I do with the kids. Guys, today, I want you to see what, come here. And we bring him in and they go, oh. And then I get down on one knee, come here. Because I don't want to have to yell to get them interested, like,
It's just temporarily unusable.
have them drop their hands, whatever. So, the zigzag move. When we play, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to, when Coach Luke hits me the ball and Brennan comes running out at me like a crazy man, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to do a zig, dribbling one way, and then a zag, dribbling the other way. Okay? Zigzag. It's a crossover in basketball.
It's even going
I
on.
think I call it a crossover in hockey, right? In football, it's a zigzag, right? We want to teach them that move. Sharp as possible, go back and forth. And the way it looks with the little kids is they're going to dribble one way, and they're going to dribble the other way. And if we can do that super fast, that's great. And then as they get older, we're going to dribble one way and hit it with the outside part of our foot to go the opposite way. A little quicker, right? And what we want to do is we're going to show them this move. Or we'll teach them this move by doing this drill. Brennan, come on out there with that ball. So, right now, Brennan, I want you to dribble. We're going to use those yellow cones again. I want you to dribble at one of those cones. Okay? And when a coach goes to that cone, I want you, that zig, and you go to the other one. Okay? And what we're trying to do is we're trying to teach them that move to off-balance the defender, unbalance the defender, but also we can talk about what they're looking to do when they're dribbling at somebody. And we're going to go back to our concept of space. Okay? We want the kid to find space.
That's the funniest text message he's ever
Most
sent.
kids will dribble straight at us, right? So he'll dribble straight at us, and I'll run at him, and he runs at me,
Don't
right?
say it out
And
loud.
we do
The mic will catch
like
it.
a battle. But what we want to try to do, hey, stay off the field!
Anybody want any candy?
No, I don't trust that man. So what we want to try to do is we say, find space. So we can talk about finding space. So if Brennan's dribbling at this yellow cone, is there any space here anymore? No, but there's space over here. And what happens is we teach them a zigzag to get around somebody that's using the term of space. Find space, boom, around the person. Okay, any questions? Perfect. The kids like this. They love it because it's competition, right? Especially as they get into first grade, second grade, boys, girls. And what happens is, I was worried that my daughter's team, when first grade, probably wouldn't like it. They love them. They love 1v1s, and you can do a million 1v1 drills, but at first grade, they start liking this. It's competition. And it's funny because back in the 90s when I started taking the U.S. soccer coaching courses, they said in 1994, do not try to teach kids 1 versus 1 until they've mastered the skills to do master the technique of doing the skills like the Sir Stanley Matthews and the Cruyff and all the and so we're like, okay, Do not teach how to dribble past somebody. Generations of U.S. soccer players weren't taught how to beat somebody. Now I'm telling you, teach us in first grade. Because what happens is, in first grade, they know no fear. You ask a 12-year-old, hey, try to go against him in a 1v1, and half your team are like, I don't like 1v1. Right? But if you ask a first grader, like, yeah, no, woo! Right? And so we want to get that fun. And here's the thing. When you're coaching, you do not have to be loud and really energetic and animated. It helps. With little kids, it helps. But if you're the quiet type, that's cool too. But here's what you have to do. When you see something, when you see a kid do something you've been coaching, you need to give them praise right away. Right? It gets them excited. And even if you're a quiet guy, a quiet lady, hey, listen, oh, that was really good. That was great. Now, I will tell you something about zigzags. I taught zigzags. I was a coach. I would coach with the Oklahoma boys varsity coach, our young boys, and we were trying to teach this, zigzags, and they weren't doing it. We're like, we're two accomplished coaches. My God, we should be able to teach this. And then one day in a game, a boy by the name of Jack Gugamus, who happens to be on this team in 2021, when our boys were seniors, they won the state championship. Jack Gugamus was named Mr. Soccer, best soccer player in the state. Well, Jack Gugamus finally did a zigzag in a first grade game. And what happened is the player was running at him, did this, and went right by him and scored. And every kid on my team went, oh, it works. And so we went from a team literally doing no zigzags for the first couple games of the season to zigzagging like off the kickoff there was zigzag. Like every kid was zigzag. And it was just one kid doing it.
Only if you catch
And we got really excited when he did it. And all of a sudden those kids, the other kids go, Brandon did that. You see what Brandon did? He went right around that guy. Well, get excited and that stuff will come, but it will take a little time. Okay. Any questions? We will definitely do that by 9:15. Okay, awesome. So, all right, so that's our skill. Striking the ball. Do it. Do it. And you're going to have kids going, right? That's fine. I can't do it next time. Well, that's great, but kick with both. Get reps in. And make sure they do that. Talk about space, picking your head up. What's our progression? Find space. What do you do? Head up. And what are you looking for? The goal. Now, in the game, this is the last part. When we play a game, and whether it's in a scrimmage at the end of a game, or in the actual game on the weekend, besides trying to hurt cats to make sure there are 4 players on the field and the other 4 players, they go off the field and they go, and they go to their parents, that's cool, that's part of it. Hey, come on over here. And you want them to sit in one spot because they have to be, they're going to be subbing every couple minutes. You don't want to have to herd the cats to get them on the field. The reason why the games are 40 minutes long is we spend about 27 of it subbing and getting kids on the field. So that's going to be a natural thing. But what we want to do is we want to talk whenever they're playing. Two things: find space and find the goal. Find space and find the goal. Okay. Now, the concept of me passing the loop when I'm a kindergartner or first grader, I have forgotten. That's because remember in practice everybody has their ball, but when we scrimmage, how many balls are out there? How many kids are out there like, whoa, why I want that ball? So, Luke, sorry buddy, it's my ball. They're going to be selfish, and that's okay. We want to encourage kids to want the ball. So in a game, or in our scrimmage, the first thing we want to teach them is chase the ball. there was a guy at Hazlitt years ago. Like I said, I was coaching for a bunch of years, and I ran across this guy, and he just kids chase the ball. In English, oh yeah, chase the ball. Want the ball, because you're gonna have some kids go, I don't want to buy that ball, right? And so you want to chase the ball, chase the ball, chase the ball. And what you want to do is you want to get them to do that, so they want that and know that's part of the game, is going after the ball. People go, that's just hurting. There's a bunch of bumblebees. Yep. In the beginning, it's going to be bumblebees, but you got to teach the kids to go after the ball. And the story, Mike's standing there. He always likes this story. My daughter, who just graduated, when she was playing, she held my hand on her knee. I was like, ooh, oh, don't hold my hand. I'm a coach. And go chase the ball. She's like, nope. Just want to hold my hand. So she walked around my hand all kindergarten season. And honestly, this is true. I got really conscientious. I'm not like an experienced coach. You got to be chasing the ball. Chase the ball! Didn't do that because I wouldn't be standing here. I'd be living in a tent. But what happened is she held my hand the whole time. Games, season, a whole season. And then finally, a couple games into her first grade year, the ball, an act of God, the ball somehow pinged out and was standing in front of our goal. And I was like, Ella, there's nobody on this half the field. For the love of God, go kick it. And she was like, and the ball was sitting there, and people were screaming, ah, kick it. So she left my hand and went over and kicked it. Now this is the honest to God truth. She kicked this ball, the ball went in, and she was like, yeah! And she never held my hand again. Swear to God, she never held my hand. She was like, I got this. Like, whoa, this is fun. So I tell you that because every kid's a little bit different. So every kid you gotta have kids that want to chase the ball and get after it. Some kids don't. Your kid might be the biggest pain on the entire field. But you gotta just go through it because this is just fun. And keep encouraging. And then we want to teach them to chase the ball. So after they chase the ball, when they get the ball, we're going to teach them, what do you think, what am I going to tell them? When they're in a crowd and they get the ball, what are we going to yell? Find space. I don't care if they dribble backwards, sideways. Now, if they dribble backwards, half the fans will have a heart attack. Ah! No! Nope, let them dribble backwards. Let them dribble. Just go. Find space. And then when they get in that space, what are you going to yell? Find the goal. Find the goal. Find space. Hey, Sal, find the goal. Oh. Find space, come on. Whatever, right? And so what happens is they get in the habit of like, woo, I'm getting out of this crowd, and they're going to score a goal. Now, here's the thing. People, yeah, Rob,
Really?
so that was lightning.
Yeah, you gotta get out.
Okay, gotta go?
Yeah.
Okay, so 5 seconds. So what we want to do is we're going to teach them. I'm going to talk about this in there, and then we're pretty much going to answer questions, and we'll be done. So what I'll tell you that. Look at that cliffhanger. You teach them this. Or we'll go under there for kids to want to play this game. Okay. The other thing is when we're in the game, you're going to have kids that don't want to chase the ball. I'm sorry, where can I stand at? Does this help you over here? You're like in the bad spot, Luke. Sorry. Yeah. So what happens is, you're going to have kids that are really active, right? And I can kick the ball, and they're running all over. They're going to have a great time. And then they're going to be, the ball goes out of play, and there's something called a throw into on the sides to throw the ball back in. And those kids are going to be like, I'll do that, I'll throw it in. Now, here's the thing. When the ball goes out of play and there's basically a restart, which is like a throw in or a kick or a kick off, a goal kick, what we want to do is take that moment to get the kid that doesn't like to chase the ball, that hasn't kicked the ball yet, take that opportunity to give that kid a chance, right? Again, we're trying to turn the kids on. And listen, my kid was like, Dad, I know how to do, he knew all the throws and all the kicks. Yeah, buddy, that's great. I let him do it once in a while, but most of every time we're using somebody that hasn't kicked the ball. And what happens is the the girl that doesn't kick the ball a lot, but she gets to take a couple corner kicks or goal kicks or throw-ins, all of a sudden now she's like, hey, I did great. I kicked the ball. And you'll hear that when they walk off the field. That's a win. That's what we want. All right? The only way that you guys can mess up this season is if the kids aren't having fun. Right? And that's what I want you to do. So take those opportunities to involve all those kids. All right? Involve, hey, you take the kick. You take the throw-in. You know? Ben, you take the throw-in. Okay. You show them how to take a throw-in. Get them involved. There are going to be some kids that have an older sibling that plays goalie. They watch their older brother or sister play. And there's goalies. The goalies are sweet because they get to defend the goal. Yeah! Well, we don't want that. We don't want a goalie in there right now. We play with no goalies. So we encourage them to get up and get into play. Get playing. But they're going to say, oh, there's a goalie on, Jimmy's team. Yes, I get it, but we don't play with goalies. We're just going to go try to score. Right? My kid who plays in college, when he scored, we scored a goal, 1-0. And these games are like 10 to 11. I mean, there's a ton of goals in these games. My kid, after one goal, is like, defend! Everybody defend! I'm like, hey, bud, we're going to probably score 20 goals. So don't worry about defending. But so you want to encourage people to get involved in the play. Get playing. So people come up and say, okay, I got this. Because I think what we're going to do is we're going to play with 2 defenders and 2 forwards. We're going to make sure that defenders defend the goal and the forwards run around. No. Well, that equally spaces out the players to cover. No. Chase the ball. Chase the ball. Positioning, by the way, you might kill every team if you did that. But you also might kill players because they're like, I'm playing defender again. I haven't touched the ball in 3 days. Right? And there's no excitement. We want them to be excited to play. So get up there, play. The most positioning I see, really, is on the kickoff, where you might have a couple kids up by the ball that kick the ball and a couple behind them. That's it. But get them all playing, okay? We'll worry about how to space kids out as they get older. And one little seed on that is this. If we teach the concept of space early on, then what happens is, when they get older, we want them to spread out. You ever heard that? You ever say that? Spread out. Remember kids over there? No, you don't spread out. Like spread out from the other person, right? So what we want to do is we teach that idea of space. So what happens? What's your name? So Mallory's on my team, and this happens all the time. Mallory's dribbling. I'm so happy for Mallory. I'm with you and kick the ball. And as an adult, you're like, oh, don't kick him. Mallory's on our team. Don't take it from her. So what we say is, we stop the play if we're on a scrimmage, and we say, hey, Brendan, I know you're the neighbor of Mallory. She's doing really good. Are you giving her space? If you run to her, is she in space? No, she's not. Oh, give her space. Where can you go to give her space? And then the kids start thinking like, oh, I'm not going to run right at my teammate. Maybe I start spreading out. They're not saying that. We said that, but give them space. So if we can teach this concept of space, then that will lay the groundwork for as they get older. Okay? And again, it doesn't matter if you don't know how to play this game, you've never played a game. Whether your greatest skill is being a parent and answering the phone from Nick. I mean, Nick has got this bad habit of calling people randomly and asking them to be coaches. And how many of you said... Huh? That's right. So, and you're like, dude, I could have swore I said I'd be an assistant coach, and now you're the head coach. But it doesn't matter. If you can teach them some of these basic skills, you're setting them up for the future. Trust me, I know. I know this. Okay? Okay.
I think Nick probably reiterated this, but if a team is like kicking butt, 15-0, just at halftime to split the teams up equally, kids will
mix them up. What he means by we mix them up.
Has it, Okemos, Pennies, split the teams up equally. Just mix them up. make everybody have a little bit more fun, because it's kind of boring after score, they walk back to the middle of the field, score, walk back to the middle of the field. If a team, there is going to be teams out there just going to dominate. So just kind of split the teams up equally, and as it comes to Okemos teams, and vice versa.
Yeah, trust me, people go, oh, I don't want to do that. Whoa, I've done a lot of preparing for this. No, you're just telling them to find space and find the goal. It doesn't really matter. But my record of 108 wins and 41 losses, is that still the record?
Yeah, that is
okay,
the record.
I just keep track, but that's just me. No, but here's the thing, it doesn't matter. Again, have the kids love the game, let them, or show them how much fun it is, and, oh, I don't want to, he's my best friend, and now we're on separate teams because of a blow-up. Yeah, just play. By the way, Hazlitt kids don't have 3 eyes, and Okemos kids don't have, 5 arms, they're all the same. Any questions? Oh, hey, you moved.
Yeah,
You moved.
He did move.
I do not want to buy that painting, sir. That was not a bid.
All right. Thank you very much. Anything you need to add, Nick?
Don't ask me, ask Rob.
Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.